Welcome to the Explainer. You know, every year, literally thousands of engineering students hit the job market. They've all got pretty much the same resumes, same technical skills. So what is it? What really separates the candidates who land the job from the ones who don't? Well, today, we're going to break down the 10 habits that actually make all the difference.
Okay, let's just start with a scene we've all thought about. You've got two candidates, right? Candidate A and candidate B. Same coding skills, same grades, everything looks identical on paper. But one gets the offer and the other gets that dreaded rejection email. The reason is almost never about the code they wrote. So, what's the real tiebreaker?
Well, it turns out the answer is rarely technical. Think about it. Colleges spend 4 years hammering in the technical stuff, but research actually shows that a staggering 89% of hiring failures, they happen because of a gap in soft skills, not ability. And that's exactly the gap we're going to help you close today.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to walk through 4 key areas, and we'll break them down into a concrete playbook of habits you can start building, like right now, to really stand out.
So here's the absolute crucial point. Colleges, they teach you the skills to solve the problem, but interviewers, they're testing for something else entirely. They want to see how you think, how you communicate, and yeah, how you behave when the pressure's on.
Let's dive into our first set of habits. You can think of these as upgrades to your internal operating system. It's all about how you approach and talk about complex problems, especially when that clock is ticking.
First up, we've got habit number 1, structured thinking. See, recruiters don't just want a problem solver. They want someone who can take a messy, chaotic problem, break it down into these clean, logical steps, and, this is the key part, explain their process out loud as they go. And you can start building this habit today. Seriously, for the next 30 days before you jump into solving any problem, whether it's code or just, planning your day, force yourself to write down your plan of attack in steps first. Next up, habit number 2, explaining your work simply. You've got to be able to explain the value of what you built to anyone. I mean, anyone. From a senior engineer all the way to the HR manager who just needs to understand the impact, not the nitty-gritty implementation details. Okay, just look at this shift in focus. Instead of rattling off a list of libraries and frameworks you used, you state the human problem you solved. I built a face recognition system so professors don't have to call out names manually. It's so simple, but that reframe is incredibly powerful. Here's a really simple test you can try tonight. Go find a family member and try explaining your final year project to them in under 60 seconds. If you see their eyes start to glaze over, well, you know you need to simplify your pitch. All right, habit number 3 is intellectual honesty. It is so tempting to just try and bluff your way through a question when you don't know the answer, right? But in a high-stakes interview, admitting what you don't know is actually a huge sign of confidence and maturity. This phrase right here, it's an absolute game changer. You're turning what could be a moment of weakness into a massive strength. It shifts the whole conversation from what you've memorized to how you think and learn, which, let's be honest, is way more valuable to an employer. Okay, on to habit number 4, active listening. This is such a classic mistake. Most candidates are so busy in their own heads rehearsing their next answer that they completely miss the little details in the question being asked. And trust me, interviewers notice that immediately. You can actually train your focus just like a muscle. Try this. In your next class, put your phone face down. At the end of it, try to summarize the core concepts in just 3 sentences without looking at your notes. It forces you to actually truly listen. Habit number 5 is all about keeping your cool under pressure. And here's a little insider secret for you. Interviewers will often give you a problem they know you can't solve. They don't want to see you solve it. They want to see how you behave when you get stuck. And a phrase like this is the perfect response. The key is not to freeze up or panic. It's to just start talking and communicate your thought process, even if you're starting with a simple, inefficient, brute force solution. Just start talking. All right, let's shift gears to the next set of habits. These are all about how you demonstrate responsibility and maturity through your actions, not just your words. And this brings us to habit number 6, the ownership mindset. This is all about taking what we call radical responsibility for outcomes, especially when things go wrong. It's really the difference between being a passenger on a project and being the pilot. I mean, just look at the difference here. The first statement, that signals helplessness, maybe a little bit of blame. The second one signals leadership, self-awareness, and a real drive to learn and improve. One sentence, but a completely different signal. Habit number 7 is concise communication. Interviewers are looking for clarity, not fluency. And the biggest mistake candidates make is just rambling to fill the silence. It is so much better to just take a 2-second pause, structure your thoughts, and then deliver a clear, concise answer.
Okay, this one's a powerful and maybe slightly uncomfortable exercise. Record yourself answering a common interview question. Then listen back and count every single filler word. The ums, the likes, the basicallys. Then do it again and again until they're gone.
This leads us right into habit number 8, which is all about showing your curiosity. The interview isn't over when they ask, "So, do you have any questions for us?" Nope, that is your final test. The questions you ask are just as important as the answers you gave. A question like this is pure gold. Why? Because it proves 3 things all at once. 1, you've done your homework. 2, you understand industry trends. And 3, you think like a real practicing engineer, not just a student who's looking for any old job. Our 9th habit is developing a comfort with ambiguity. See, in college, your assignments always have these perfectly clear requirements. But in the real world, projects are messy and requirements are almost always incomplete. You have to show you can handle that ambiguity without getting paralyzed. All right, let's move on to our final habit, and honestly, this one's a biggie. Mastering your digital handshake. This is habit number 10, and it's all about the impression a recruiter gets before you ever even say a single word to them. And make no mistake, recruiters will Google you. A clean GitHub with consistent commits, that shows you're a builder, not just a talker. A professional LinkedIn that sounds like an actual human, it shows your personality. And a link to a live project proves you can actually ship something. This stuff takes only a few hours to fix, but you'd be surprised how many students just never do it. Whew. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. But you know what? None of this matters if it just stays as theory. The most important thing you can do now is take that very first step. And here's the thing to remember. The goal here isn't to master all 10 of these overnight. That's impossible. The goal is to just start the process, to pick one, and begin the deliberate practice of building it into a real habit, day by day. So that leaves us with one final and really crucial question. Don't just watch this explainer. Use it. Look back at this list, pick the one habit that really speaks to you, and decide on one small action you're going to take to start practicing it right now.